taste you. That's the way I feel when I'm slipping under. And then it goes into the taste of your lips, I'm on a ride. Sampling Britney Spears' Toxic.
You said you was in a toxic relationship.
So I was in this relationship that basically it was kind of like a manipulation situation. Like, oh, you want your music video to do this? Oh, okay. Well, da-da-da-da. Oh, okay. So what are we? Like, what are we? You know? Okay, yeah, I'll pay for that if you know, da-da-da-da. It was kind of like me on a string. Because
it was a quid pro quo. You do things for me, I do things for you.
Something very similar to that. And I was like, you know what, maybe this is life. Like, maybe this is the type of relationship that, you know, whatever, you know, you have money and you don't have happiness, whatever. Right. And, it just crashed so bad that I was like, I would rather be broke than ever need anybody to do anything ever for me again. I'm out. And I had to like literally uncut myself because there were so many strings in me tied to that person that I didn't even know were there. It was just crazy.
But when you're like, how did you cut the cord? Because you kind of needed it.
I know, bro. It was so hard at the time.
Did he say you'll be back?
Nah, he didn't say nothing like that. He was like, your music video's not gonna be funded. Good luck with that. I'm about to call them right now and tell them I'm not paying for that.
What?
And I was like, okay. It was like everything kind of had to crumble. And it was so embarrassing at the time because like the producers I had worked with on this one song, they were like helping me film the video. And then they were like, why did he just call us and say something about that? And I'm like, okay, here's the truth, you know? And I was just telling them what I was doing, what I was in and kind of like where my life was at that time. And so, it was super humbling at the time, but that's what I learned. I was like, even if I ever get this money again, I'm going to never equate it with happiness, with a healthy relationship, with a healthy mind. Hell no. If I don't have it in myself, I don't need the money.
How did you find yourself again? How did you pull yourself out of that?
Therapy. At the time, so the one good thing about that relationship was that he used this therapist, and I would hear what they were talking about, and I'm like, what? And then I was like, who do you let tell you about yourself? I want to talk to her. And I remember I had my first therapy session, and I was breaking down crying because I had never been asked some of the questions that she asked me. And from there, I was like, okay, I'm kind of in this trap situation, but I'm about to tell you everything. I don't know why, but I just told her everything. I felt like she couldn't tell anyone else.
And theoretically, she's not supposed to.
Literally. And I Googled that. I was like, you can lose a license. I'm going to trust you, girl. But it's also the law. Right. So I just told her everything. And slowly by slowly, I was rebuilt because I was at such a low state. I felt so powerless. I felt so stuck. I felt like I was in these chains and I couldn't leave because I wanted this music stuff so bad. And I was just going to do what it took, you know? And my freaking rent and it was just so bad. It was so bad. I was so unhappy. But yeah, she helped me rebuild myself and also to shed these limiting beliefs. This is what I gotta do. Like I would say, this is what I gotta do. You think I want to do this? You think I want to sing that? You think I want to do that? And so she'd be like, but why? Says who? And I literally couldn't answer. So yeah, rebuilding slowly.
They say when we're at our lowest is when we find out the most about ourselves. What did Coco find out about herself during this period?
That money doesn't equal happiness.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, man, let's talk about Coco Jones, as you just seen. So if you didn't know, she's dating, I don't know, it might be engaged, but I know she's dating NBA All-Star Donovan Mitchell. And this is why to a lot of dudes, and women act like they can't understand this, but they do, don't want a woman, an older woman, or a woman that come with baggage. She said, I will never depend on another man in my life. You know, so what Donovan Mitchell was gonna get is a woman that's hurt. I tell you all the time, women don't heal, bro. Women don't heal. Women don't even stop to take accountability. You know, everything is when they get over a relationship, it's about them. I mean, it's about what you didn't do. It ain't what they could have done better. And you know, because she had a bad experience, now every other guy got to pay for it. Oh, I never trust a man. I never depend on a man's money. And, you know, it was too controlling. And you notice they get controlled by the worst candidates. But when the best candidates come there, oh, man, I can't trust your leadership. But you want to know why that is, bro? Eve ate that apple. She, instead of following God's instructions and Adam's leadership, okay, she, you know, they are so influenced by negativity, bro. They're so influenced by negativity. They love the bad thing about whatever it is. They give their best years to the worst candidates. And they use this thing that they didn't know no better. Hey, listen to your boy. I was there. They know better. I don't use that as an excuse. You know the stove is hot. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know no better. They was trying. No, they knew better. We know better. We know as young men, if we have unprotected sex with a woman when we in high school, that she can become pregnant. We know that. So there ain't no, they know the dangers of this stuff, and they go to the worst candidates because they are, that's who they are. That's who they are. I mean, you can do all that you want behind me. That's who they are. Most of them are horrible character, and then they have this horrible experience with the horrible man, but they don't tell you after the movie what happens after the credits when the Marvel do these little, after the credits they go on a dick barrage. It don't be like, okay, I'm a heal and self-improve and I'm only gonna, man, no. That dude probably still was hitting it. She was sleeping with any and everybody. That's why I tell y'all, women don't heal. They look for a new dick to hop on. They don't heal, bro. Very few women actually heal. And when they heal, that means that little coochie done slowed down. He got tired of the vibrator, then dry. That's why when you hear them, they start talking about, oh, I don't care about sex anymore. Sex isn't important. Yeah, you burnt out. STD'd out. I'm trying to translate that for you. Brain fried. You know how they say if a man whack off too much, that he loses sensitivity, don't even want real sex, can't even get erect. That happens to women too. You know? So when you hear them, when you get with a dude, and they get with dudes who got their life together, who you can trust their leadership, they no longer can trust their leadership because they hurt. Not the train. It's because they hurt. Okay, I'm going the way I was going. But it's because they hurt. And they didn't heal. They still was messing with that same dude. Let me tell you this real quick. Listen to your boy. They still was messing with that same dude that did them wrong. They just think they don't go cold turkey off the dick. The belief is the guy is like, oh, begging her to get some. No. The women be begging dudes for some. Then she probably went out there, was mad at him, and went to go, get pounded out by a few other dudes, right? See that wasn't working, and now I'll never depend on a man again, and you with Donovan Mitchell. But then if he marry her, right, and it don't work out, you think she's gonna depend on it? Yeah, she's gonna depend on, oh, I deserve this and I deserve that. That's why it doesn't matter her title. It doesn't matter how much money she has, she still gonna want your shit. So she's saying all of this, so you'll never depend. So Donovan Mitchell don't pay for flights. Donovan, you do all the, he pay for it, he don't pay for shit. Y'all go 50-50 and don't be listening to these birds. This is why you don't want birds that's already, women can be imprinted once or twice by a man. That's about it. Stud Keisha, you can't overcome an imprint. They ain't never been imprinted by a stud. Stud Keisha, Stud Becky, never. Only that cock-a-doodle-doo can do that. Not your Silicone to do can do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'll be saying stuff. I be just saying shit, man. Like just listen to what they saying. You can listen, but this relationship gonna be a failure. She don't respect him. She don't respect Don. For real, she can act like she do, but you won't go on the podcast and say no shit like that. Even if this was recorded before they got together. Come on. Oh, never trust a man. Why not? So, and this is why it proves that dudes don't want women with past. Because your bad moment gotta affect what I got going on. The plans I got for you. Ain't that crazy? What happened to you? But let something be in your past and you have something that you gun shy about with a woman. Oh, you just, what they say? Who hurt you? Get over it. And they tell you to get over it. Why they gonna do the very same thing that you fear to do? You know what I mean? I don't know why it takes so long for people to make a right turn, man. Like, Jesus Christ. But that's how they be. That's how they be, bro. But yeah, it's hard when you hear women say shit like that. One person, it'd be so funny. They female friends have fucked them over. They get them chance at the chance. Oh, he had me on the string like this. He had me on the string like this. It's just like, bro, you got to ask yourself, why do they follow the worst men when they're younger? Why do they gravitate towards the worst men? And then they put all these rules on you and you coming in trying to do it the right way. They looking, they so fucked up, they looking at your past. Oh, what you do this? Or they trying to find something wrong. And that's when I deal with people like, just in general, people like that really trying to find, you got to get away from people like that, whether it's coworkers, friends, girlfriends. When they go looking for something that's wrong, I'm good on it, bro. I'm good. Like, I'm okay, cool. Keep it moving. And but women, you gotta watch what y'all be saying in public. But for the most part, it just prove our points. This is why dudes don't want to commit. You get with a man like Donovan Mitchell, and all of a sudden, I'll never follow a man again because of what happened before him. But this man can lead you the right way, have the money, have the status, be cool. The communication is on point, be all about you. But you never gonna fully trust that man again because of what your pookie boyfriend did. And that's just your side of the story. This man might have a complete, they be lying. She probably didn't even give you 50% of the truth. And that's why it's real hard how women are so promiscuous at a young age. It's hard to be like, I can commit. No. Wholesome women, shit, you ain't gonna find them. They don't even come out wholesome out the 10th grade no more, bro. They're damaged and, in the middle of their high school process. So them coming out of high school, I mean, what can you do? They already been damaged, ran through, had bad experiences, been taken advantage by older men. It's just like, and you supposed to deal with all the trauma and drama that come with them, all the trauma that they picked up over the years. You're supposed to deal with that. Think about that for a minute. You're supposed to deal with that. But what's the bad thing about dealing with women with trauma like that? And dealing with their traumas and their issues that come from the past? Because we all got current issues and shit we going through. That's, you got to deal with your shit. You got to keep your shit internal. They don't want to help deal with your trauma. They don't want to help deal with your past, shit you went through as a kid. They don't care nothing about what you went through. Once you really start looking at why civilization was the way it was and why they treated women the way they treated women, right? And in some countries they still treat them, as 1/4 of a human. I'm not saying it's right. I ain't saying it's wrong. It's your opinion on it. But I always try to understand. I always try to ask the why. But now you understand the why. You understand the why. They have no sympathy, no empathy. Most women don't care about you. Only time they start caring about you if you get sick and it's tied to their well-being as far as financial. Most women don't care about you, bro. They'll run you through the ground, kill you early, take your resources and give it to another nigga, not even to the kids. And you understand how narcissistic they are, because your problems are your problems and their problems are your problems and their family problems are your problems. Nobody's there to unload your problems in a lot of these situations. You face a lot of it, and then they'll be like, why you didn't tell me? Why you didn't tell me? It's like, well, what you gonna do about it? Keep asking me about it, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. With no solutions, no, you ain't gonna put your fucking work gloves on and help me figure it out. So why should I tell you? And you notice a lot of the problems that you have when you're singular, when you single, it ain't nowhere near as monumental as the problems that you get when you add a woman into your life or a significant other to your. It's nowhere near. Because when you go through your problems, you're able to get in the hole a little bit. You're able to recover, be good for a while. But when you start adding children and women and other people, you know, every time it's something, it's something, it's something, it's something, it's something. You know, and that's just the God honest truth. But nobody's there to unload your trauma, or do you? They be like, oh, you should go to therapy and this, man, bullshit. I mean, I ain't against it. I'll be honest. Sometimes, you know, I hear people say, oh, fuck therapy, but sometimes you just need to get it out. Sometimes you just need to get it out. Even if the therapist don't even give you a great solution, sometimes you just need to get it out. Sometimes you need to say it outside your head. You need to say it into the universe to get it off your chest. This is true. But this is what you get, bro. You get damaged goods with these women. You get a lot of dudes get damaged goods, and we're so accepting of the damaged goods. And now that you see men becoming more anal about how they dealing with women, now you seeing the shift. Like, what do I get out of it? Nothing. The pussy ain't even as good as it used to be for a lot of dudes. You know what I'm saying? Shit, you wear a condom, you still worried about catching some shit. You know, but her saying that, man, like, and that's the honest. Well, I never trust a man to get up, depend on the man. But then you still gonna ask this nigga for money, bro. That's the wild thing about it. You still want to ask this dude for money and depend on him. And if he can marry you and it come down to a divorce or something, like, you still gonna want half. And this is the shit you go through, bro. Some dudes really do got a good woman. For real talk. Some dudes really do got a good woman. The last of the Mohegans, bro. They'll get in that blender with you and work it out. Real talk. But a lot of these new age women, it's a wrap. But we already knew entertainers was brought. Well, they was throwaways. Singers, actresses, man, they throwaways. They compromised. You know what I'm saying? All of them been ran through by executives and shit like that. I mean, it ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new. So they dodo birds anyway. You know, you just really, when you get with them, you supposed to just run through them. The models, the video vixens, the movie stars, the actresses. If Halle Berry was getting ran through by them wrinkled ass brads, allegedly, you know what I'm saying? What do you think Coco Jones? And she's a very beautiful young lady. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. I'm so tired of this nigga parking over here. He don't live in this building, dog. I don't know if he dodging a repossession or what. Go park in your own building. But hey, appreciate y'all. Hit the link in the description. Join the Patreon.